Senate. What conversations have you been having already over there?
Well, I think a lot depended on the vote today, and we just got a thundering bipartisan endorsement from the House. I think the final number was 352, and so my hope is that the Senate will receive the message that the concerns about ByteDance's continued ownership of TikTok are very real. They're bipartisan, and we intend to work with our colleagues in the Senate to pass this piece of legislation. I think we have a window of opportunity to do something that's important for national security that both parties can come together on, and we just proved it on the House floor.
No, I think that this is a signal that we can work together to solve really hard things, but it takes thoughtful leadership, and I'm so honored to work with Mike Gallagher and all the Republicans and Democrats on the Select Committee who took this issue seriously, worked with the Biden administration. I give them tremendous credit for giving us a lot of useful input that ended up in the bill. And then, of course, people on the floor and otherwise who helped us to usher this through. But 352 votes for this, that was not predicted. And I think that's a testament to the power of the bill and the concern about, ByteDance's ownership of TikTok.
Could you respond to the repeated comments in there about needing comprehensive data privacy and data privacy protections for all companies?
100%. I think Mike and I are on the same page on this. There has to be comprehensive data privacy. I think this is the first step in kind of dealing with a much bigger problem of social media. And I look forward to working with whoever on both sides on that issue as well.
How was your meeting yesterday with Warner and Rubio on this bill?
Very good. Obviously, I think both Senator Warner and Senator Rubio deserve a lot of credit for elucidating the threat posed by CCP control of American social media. They were out there talking about it before almost anyone, and so we hope to work with them going forward on how something like this could pass the Senate. But we have always had a good working relationship with them on a variety of issues. We talked about biotech, we talked about energy, and so we're always looking to collaborate with them given their leadership.
And can I jump in? We also look forward to working with Senator Cantwell, Chuck Schumer, of course, anyone and everyone who wants to work on this issue productively with us. We really are eager, and the Biden administration has asked us to work on this collaboratively and to get something done. We want a final bill that becomes a law.
And when you say something like this passing in the Senate, have there been any discussions about potential changes to the House bill on that side?
I haven't heard anyone saying, hey, you need to change this section, that section. I think a lot of that is a function of, we've been working on this for 8 months, longer than that. We had a previous iteration of a bill that wasn't the right bill. Yeah, it's the Anti-Social CCP Act. We've been able to iterate based on the failure of some previous efforts, going all the way back to when Trump tried to do this through executive order. It didn't withstand sort of the legal buzzsaw. And we invited technical assistance from the White House, and that improved the bill as well. So far, people seem comfortable, as the vote indicates, with the text. But obviously, the Senate, has 100 senators that are going to have an opinion on this thing. So obviously, you got to balance that against the need to do something expeditiously, because everything gets harder the closer you get to an election.
Mr. Chairman, what are your thoughts on the fact that President Trump came out against it over the weekend and still was able to get through?
Well, if you actually read what Trump said, the goal of the bill is not to shut down TikTok and force its users onto Facebook. That would be a bad outcome. Right. So in that sense, I agree with what Trump said. But our bill allows for a divestiture, and again, a lot of this process started with the former president in 2020 trying to tackle the national security threat posed by ByteDance's ownership of TikTok. So I'm glad that we move forward, and Trump may, if he gets reelected, have an opportunity to consummate the deal of the century.
How did this move so quickly from introduction to the House floor and passage?
Well, we've been working on it for the thing that I think maybe is the story that wasn't told is that we were working with stakeholders for months on this particular issue after the last attempt. And that's why, in part, the vote is so big, because a lot of those stakeholders had input here, and the White House was crucial because they gave us a lot of the technical assistance to actually make it implementable right away.
I would also add just the general powers of Raja's persuasion were such that we were able to get this done very quickly.
I approve that message.
TikTok doesn't seem interested at all in divestiture at this point from what's been coming out of ByteDance and reports with what they're thinking.
Buyers
Are you
are
worried that
interested. Published reports are that many buyers are interested. I think that, look, it's ultimately Beijing and ByteDance's decision. It's Xi Jinping's decision ultimately because he controls that property. And at the same time that his economy is tanking, at the same time that he is courting foreign investment, at the same time he's trying to assure investors that he's not going to zero out their investment for political reasons, he should probably keep that in mind with regard to ByteDance. And that's why I think that they're going to comply with the requirements.
What does it say about the fact that this bill was able to pass, even though TikTok did a full court press, had all these influencers, had all these people making a campaign to?
Well, I think the full court press last week backfired. I think the pop notification that TikTok pushed out to millions of users, demanding their zip codes, and then having them call members of Congress, the threats members of Congress got, the misinformation that was in that pop-up ad, I mean, it was outright mischaracterization of the bill, I think provided for members a preview of how the platform could be weaponized to inject disinformation into our democratic system. And imagine if we were debating an even weightier issue, right? Whether it's an authorization for the use of military force or something regarding our trade relations with China or sanctions over Xinjiang. I think that actually proved the point to a lot of members who may have been on the fence before.
Oh,
Could
totally.
you respond to the broad expectation that this is just going to get caught up in the courts if President Biden does sign it into law? What's your view of that?
Well, look, TikTok, TikTok doesn't have any shortage of lobbyists or lawyers. So I expect that anything that's done here affecting TikTok is going to be litigated. But as we talked about before, this bill passes constitutional muster. The White House, DOJ, others have weighed in based on their own litigation experience with TikTok to tell us what needs to be changed or adjusted based on court precedent and otherwise to make it rock solid in the courts.
Do you two plan to work with your Senate colleagues to get this passed there? So good.
Also, shout out to Cathy McMorris-Rodgers, the chairwoman. Without her leadership, this would not have been possible.
Chair Rogers, could you respond to all the talk in there about comprehensive data privacy? You chose to give this time and attention versus ADPPA.
We are continuing to work with colleagues on the committee and in the Senate on this is what I want to say. We plan to bring a data privacy bill forward this Congress. Next week we will be bringing forward the legislation that bans data brokers from selling their data to foreign adversaries. We are moving forward on multiple fronts right now to make sure that we're protecting America from these foreign adversaries and also protecting America's data online.
The data broker bill to the floor, do you mean?
Yes, data broker bill will be on the floor next week. Yes.
And any Senate conversations on that one yet?
Yes, we're very active in talking with the Senate on all fronts.
If ByteDance refuses to sell, what can you do about that? How do you compel a foreign company to sell one of their assets?
Well, the entire mechanism of the bill is like compelling the divestiture, right? We give them 6 months, and after that, they won't be hosted on U.S. app stores, and the website will be impeded as well. So that's the mechanism.
Who would be involved here because of their app stores? Any opposition to having this new rule on their app stores?
I haven't talked to them.
I haven't either. Yeah. Our recommendation is that TikTok break up with the Chinese Communist Party, and that was the message out of the House today.
Senator Warner has expressed concern about this being a bill of attainder, and Senator Campbell has worked on separate legislation. What are your discussions?
It's not. I mean, a bill of attainder issue is when you are punishing past behavior, and this is all about prospective behavior. And so that issue is not going to come up.
Do you think the Senate will consider passing your bill, or will, like Senator Campbell and others have talked about, pass their own version and go to conference?
I hope they consider passing our bill. Yes. We're going to start those conversations now. I know there are at least some senators who are interested in passing our bill. Obviously, we want to respect the committee of jurisdiction in the Senate, which I think would be Commerce, and look forward to talking with Senator Cantwell about the best approach going forward.
Absolutely.
But the overwhelming vote today is a strong signal to the Senate that they need to act.
I'm in like a circular.
I'm in the round.
Sorry, surrounded.
It's like theater of the round,
Meeting
yeah.
with Warner and Rubio
was good.
yesterday.
It was good.
Like, what did you discuss changes to the bill you would make?
No, I mean it's mainly just kind of our general approach, what happened, and it wasn't just about this. There are other issues that concern the Chinese Communist Party that we talked about. But there's great interest in doing something on this particular bill.
And the top Democrat on House Intel voted against it, saying he didn't see this was like he's aware of a lot of security threats, but he still voted against this bill. So what do you say to that?
We were both in the same threats hearing yesterday. We had every major Biden administration national security official saying the current ownership structure of TikTok is a national security threat. I don't know. Perhaps Mr. Himes had presidential concerns or constitutional concerns. I don't know. But I don't think anyone can make the case that under the current ownership structure, TikTok is not a threat to national security.
There's no First Amendment right to espionage. There's no First Amendment right to harming our national security. This will pass First Amendment muster.
And Jayapal says 6 months is not enough time for any company to find a buyer. I mean, would you consider extending that or amending legislation?
Well, remember, we're not starting from scratch, right? Like there are a lot of companies that tried to buy in the last time. 6 months is an enormous period of time. I'm not going to negotiate against the bill we just passed by 352 votes in the House. So I think it's plenty of time. And those discussions have already begun since word of this bill got out. There's been plenty of reports of people that are interested in buying.
Do you have any antitrust concerns? Probably the only company that could buy TikTok is another very large tech company with a lot of money. Some members have raised antitrust concerns.
Go ahead.
I mean, look, the regulators would have to approve anything. And so, I don't think that Meta is going to successfully be able to purchase this product. But there are any number of others. And so, I expect that the usual regulatory process will unfold.
Both the DOJ and the FTC are pretty skeptical of any type of interest, not just Meta. Have you had any conversations with antitrust officials?
No, we just tried to pass this bill today.
Yeah. I'm not abandoning you. I got to quick do an interview right here. Okay. I'll be back. I'll be around if anyone wants to.
Very good.
Okay.
So, Representative, I've spoken with a lot of members in the last yesterday that were still undecided on this bill. What did you think in the last 24 hours? Tell me about the push it took to get
It was
those
us.
numbers.
It was us. It was our basically, look, we had to address a lot of questions, concerns. We had to explain kind of the technical aspects of the bill. I think that after these explanations, I think people were comforted with the provisions of the bill. It's not a ban. It requires a divestiture. And they're comforted on the constitutional questions as well.
And we've been